and say welcome, Sam Broughton. Welcome, Mayor Sam.
Great, good to everyone. I feel like I should do something dramatic. I don't have a pumpkin with me this year. So
Excuse me, can you just remind us who won last year?
yeah, it wasn't my pumpkin. Thank you for providing the opportunity for us to give feedback on your annual plans. We're not going through this process and so on this year. Long-term plan last year, figured long-term plan, not annual plan. So there are a couple of minor changes, but other than that, we haven't done that to this full consultation thing. So big ups to you guys for spending the time listening to the community here for the next few days as well. Our submission is really in support generally of the things that you're doing, and there's a few specifics which you will have read, but I'll just run over briefly. One is around water races. Water races that cross the borders, and currently our staff are working on ways to charge rates in a better way than currently happens, and to figure that one out. So that's just, I don't know whether you as councillors were aware of that, but I think it's an important change that needs to be made around who is responsible for charging individual residents for rates, and then how's that done collectively. So that's something to be worked out. The Greater Christchurch Partnership, I've been involved in there, and with Leanne, it's been great, and just the leadership, I suppose, that group has been able to show for Greater Christchurch, or on behalf of Greater Christchurch to the government, for their confidence to be able to invest in our city. I think it's been a huge leap forward from where we were, say, 15 years ago, and obviously the current process going through our space document. When we wrote this submission, we had been expecting to have things back. It's been delayed a little bit, so I've got no more information to update you on than what you would otherwise know, and our councils know wiser than you are. But we look forward to receiving the Greater Christchurch Partnership meeting next week. Around public transport, I was in at ECAN this morning talking to them about public transport. We enjoy the Public Transport Joint Committee with you, sitting on that and ensuring that the services that represent and deliver services to Selwyn and also to Waimakiriri have our voice included on this. It's also really important to have the city voices there too, and it's a bit of it's a mess really, isn't it? It's a bit higgledy-piggledy, but it means that everyone that uses the service or has access to it actually has a say. So thank you for your the collaborative nature that joint committee takes. Our district plan ourselves, we're currently going through a district plan review, looking at a full plan. We're looking for notification or to sign off on everything almost by the elections this year over the next few months, and then for notification to happen in the early stages of next year. There'll be things that we will want your input into and to be able to...
You'll be getting it, don't worry.
Yeah, and a couple of things particularly around Nightglow and outstanding natural landscapes. Obviously Nightglow and the success of Mackenzie and being able to view the stars. And I know that friends of mine that travel out from the city and come and stage can't believe how good the stars are, even in dark, it's half an hour drive. The same can be said around the lake, you don't have to go far. But the big thing that you can see in the sky is the orange glow from Christchurch too. So I know we've gone through a huge process to replace all of our street lights with LED, down-facing, no anti-glare stuff, which has made a huge difference for us, and we're getting NZTA to try and do the same, because it's really only NZTA's lights in Selwyn that are still orange. And so I'm not aware of what you're doing in the city, but any work that you're doing to reduce the night glow. I think that's good for our nation, for people coming to visit and see the stars. And there's a conversation happening at the moment around not just Mackenzie being a stargazing place, but being a stargazing country. I think that's a really cool thing for us as well. We work together on Te Wahoroko governance and appreciate the work that's going on there. Currently been on hold, but I think the lake is of huge cultural significance to us. It's also a major part of our landscape in Selwyn, and it's also part of Christchurch too. So there's a line that goes right through the middle, which perhaps through the next representation review we should have a talk about, because it looks really weird when you see it on a map, and it also doesn't line up with the zone committee boundaries, which is all about where the water goes and where the water comes from, and perhaps a further discussion there could be had. You want the lake, is that the deal? The Canterbury Water Management Strategy has got its own committees, and again, the councillors that I have spoken to who sit with your councillors on the Christchurch West Melton zone and also the Selwyn Wahora zone appreciate the work that goes in there from your councillors. And Pest Free Banks Peninsula, we're a signatory to that as well, and One of the things that has come up for us has actually been feral cats and feral cat management, and the inability to deal with feral cats without a proper cat management strategy policy. That means dealing with domestic cats, probably means registration and microchipping. It's a whole bundle of things you have to start to open up. But unless we can deal with the feral cat population, actually they're at the top of the food chain as far as pests are concerned, and there needs to be some form of strategy to look at feral cat control, because you can't manage feral cats if you can't differentiate them from your domestic cat, and we're not trying to harm the people that have got their own cats in their own home. So not something I want to delve too deeply in, but it's certainly an issue that's come to our public forum around council over the last few months, and it may have come to you as well. There was an LGNZ remit about 2 years ago, which was the only headline that came out of the conference, which I thought was actually, it was complete sideline from the things local government should be focusing on. Exactly. But if we're going to get serious about pest-free New Zealand, or pest-free Selwyn, or pest-free Christchurch, Banks Peninsula, cats need to be a part of that conversation. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for your time, and enjoy the next few days listening to others.
Thank you. Pauline and Yanni. We're not going to have time
Tim
for
Shadbolt a good platform for some great hilarity about the cats. Can you tell us more about the water races? So currently, are they self-funding through rates? And secondly, are you thinking of closing some of them?
So the water races that feed the city, we're not thinking about closing, no.
Right.
There have been some water race closures through our district. They have been closures where there's an end of the line and everyone below them doesn't currently want the water or want to pay for the water. If someone wants to continue receiving water, you can't shut a water race halfway down. We have changed our rating structure so that everyone in our district pays for water races no matter whether or not they receive water from them. That's about biodiversity enhancement and beautification through towns, and then there's a much larger charge if the water race runs either through or adjacent to your property that you pay a per hectare rate. Yeah. So the stuff from the city, we have been charging city residents for rates for water races, and I think that the plan is to actually either or that you would charge your own people rates and we would charge you for the cost of whatever the group is, rather than Selwyn District Council. I think there's some legal issues around us charging your residents rates, because you're not
currently rating out
a cross boundary, which is a bit strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for the residents, it wouldn't be any different. They'd still be paying. They'd just be paying.
They'd be paying you, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yanni.
Thank you for your submission. I was interested in the water races issue, just the final kind of sentence there, and just there's no comment in your submission about the joint funding for regeneration of the Greater Christchurch area. So I just wondered if at a high level you could kind of talk through if you've got any views on what we need to do to progress that.
Sorry, Anna, you're talking water races?
No, but the line that you've got under water races, like the principle of things that we have as a city that your residents don't currently get rated for but benefit a wider catchment. So especially things like regeneration, that the stadium, for example, Christchurch NZ. I just wondered if you had any thoughts or if your council discussed any way forward in that regard.
Yeah, I think, well, philosophically, you talk to someone and they don't like paying for something that someone else gets to use free. Until you start talking about we all use each other's stuff for free all the time. And that happens probably for us no more than public toilets that tourists use, come through and pay nothing for, and our ratepayers have to stump up for public toilets all over our district. Huge cost and no benefit back to those people. When it comes to facilities within either Selwyn or Christchurch that's used by ratepayers or residents from either side, I think that we are focused on delivering things that our local people can use, but we're not shutting them off from anyone else being able to use them too, especially when there's capacity and availability there. It happens with sports fields, it happens with our pool. I know I used to come and swim at QE2 and Pioneer a lot, and I was swimming out at Selwyn last week and talking to someone from Horseshoe who was out there regularly swimming. So I think those things can be shared quite easily.
But what about the funding mechanism?
So we pay for our pools and you pay for your pools, and people just happen to take advantage of whichever pool is closest to them.
Right, so you're happy for us to pay for the whole stadium?
Oh, Yanni, that's not fair. He hasn't submitted on it. He hasn't submitted on it, and it isn't a fair question because anyway, there's a lot of water to go under the bridge yet.
It's just
Phil,
that,
Phil, your question.
I mean, the water races talks about.
Sam,
No one has ever asked the ratepayers of Selwyn to contribute to a
Correct.
stadium. The question's never been asked. So
It's not
I
a
can't
fair-
give you an answer.
It's
No
not a
one's
fair-
asked me,
it's
no
not
one's
a
asked
fair
us.
Question. It's
Yeah,
not a fair
that's-
question.
Sam,
So, well, what's the process to do that?
so Sam, my question really is, I know there's been a lot of work done on the future development strategy in terms of planning, but if, for example, when we go to make comments on your district plan, which you've invited us to here,
Yeah.
presumably you'd be open to receiving submissions from us in relation to density, housing density, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, it's a full public process. If there's things that particularly we think you need to have a say on because they're cross-boundary issues,
Yeah.
definitely. And if there's other areas that as a council you'd like to have your say, we'd welcome that.
And thank you. And in developing your district plan, have you got an objective to reduce urban sprawl in the Selwyn district?
Yeah, well, our current district plan, anyone in Canterbury's district plans, well, particularly around Greater Christchurch, we don't have the ability to change within the Greater Christchurch Partnership area our boundaries for townships.
Yeah.
So we are not, we have clearly said we don't want to rezone any new residential land through this district plan change review. So townships, as with the current areas, will stay as they are. It'll be up to private plan changes to promote anything different from that. And at the moment, we haven't seen anything in that space, and that can't happen inside the Greater Christchurch Partnership area because of the plans under the regional policy statement.
That's right.
Thanks, Sam.
Yeah. Good. Look, thank you very much, Sam. It's always appreciated when you come, especially when I win the pumpkin competition.
No, so I try a pumpkin next year. I'll have a think.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right.